This is Oppo's new camera-centric flagship, the Find X6 Pro. It brings the most cutting-edge camera tech plus a bunch of other fancy features, but it also comes with one major downside. I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's see what the Find X6 Pro is all about in our full review. Oppo seems to have outdone themselves this time, producing one of the most powerful camera phones we've seen yet. The Find X6 Pro has a main cam with a 1-inch IMX989 sensor, plus an excellent ultra-wide and telephoto cam, and is all tuned in partnership with Hasselblad. The phone also brings a fancy, waterproof design, a high-res AMOLED display, fast charging, and the latest flagship chipset. The only caveat is the Find X6 Pro is China only. The phone would have to be pretty good to be worth gray importing from there. The Find X6 Pro is available either in all glass or with an eco leather back, like we have here. It's actually a two-tone design between glass and leather. Of course, center stage is the huge round camera bump, also two-tone, with a Hasselblad logo. Around the camera bump is a neat accent, an aluminum bezel which mimics the grip of a camera lens. You even have an orange dot at the bottom for the alignment. The back of the Find X6 Pro curves into a matte aluminum frame, and together with the leather back, it helps provide a secure grip. You get IP68 rated protection against water and dust here too, though we're not sure how the leather backing would hold up after a swim. The display of the phone is a 6.82-inch LTPO3 AMOLED with a QHD resolution, Victus 2 protection, and a 120Hz refresh rate. The display is quite contrasty, and the high resolution means the picture is extra sharp, with a pixel density of 510 ppi. There's also support for 10-bit color depth, HDR10+, and Dolby Vision. And the color accuracy can be excellent, depending on the color mode you choose. The color mode affects the max brightness too. In the vivid setting, we measured the highest brightness, up to 860 nits with a manual slider, and a boost to over 1300 nits in auto mode. Impressive. The screen's high refresh rate makes it quite smooth when scrolling around, and since it uses LTPO tech, it's extra adaptive to save energy. It can dial down to as low as 1 Hz when idling. The minimum value depends on the screen's current brightness level. Under the display sits an optical fingerprint scanner for biometrics. The Oppo Find X6 Pro has a pair of stereo speakers, one at the top of its frame and the other at the bottom. They have very good loudness and good audio quality. Highs are nice, vocals are alright, and there is some bass. You can get the Oppo Find X6 Pro with 256 or 512 gigs of storage on board, and that isn't expandable through microSD. The interface of the phone is a Chinese version of Oppo's ColorOS 13 on top of Android 13. There's plenty of software support here. Oppo promises 4 years of major updates and 5 years of security patches. Even though this is a China-based version of the UI, there is support for Google services. But the default app store here is Oppo's own App Market. Still, we were able to install the Google Play Store hassle-free. As expected, there are some Chinese apps pre-installed, and you do see Chinese in several parts of the UI. You can uninstall or change most of it though. Besides the China-specific flavor here, the interface is basically the same as on other Oppo and Realme phones. You can find out more about it in our dedicated video. The Find X6 Pro runs on Qualcomm's most current flagship hardware, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. It provides improved performance compared to the previous generation, as well as support for advanced memory tech like LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 4.0. Also under the hood is an in-house developed Silicon X chip for advanced image processing. As expected, in benchmarks, the Find X6 Pro is among the best out there, demonstrating flagship-grade performance. Gaming and multitasking are a breeze. However, even though the phone has an option for high frame rate gaming, none of the titles we tried went any higher than 60 FPS. And the thermal management here is just alright, according to our stress tests. The CPU test results were good. But in the graphics test, we observed significant thermal throttling. The Find X6 Pro is powered by a large 5000 mAh battery, split into 2 cells for faster charging. It did a great job in our proprietary battery tests, earning a total endurance rating of 114 hours. The Find X6 Pro supports 100-watt SuperVOOC charging, and the charger comes in the box. With it, we were able to charge the phone from 0 to 64% in 15 minutes and up to 100% in half an hour. There's also support for fast wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. Finally, we're onto the cameras. The main cam uses the same 50.3 megapixel 1-inch type sensor as the Xiaomi 13 Pro and 12S Ultra and the Vivo X90 Pro. That's the largest sensor available on a smartphone right now. That's paired with an ultra-wide cam and a 2.8 times periscope telephoto, which both share a 50 megapixel IMX890 sensor. All three cameras have OIS and advanced autofocus. The main camera bins pixels to produce 12.5 megapixel photos by default. These are some of the best you can get on a smartphone these days. There's a ton of detail here, and the fine details and textures are very well done. The sharpness is just right, and the rendition is balanced and natural looking. The colors here are lively but not over the top. There's plenty of contrast, and the dynamic range is adequate. The main cam is capable of 2 times lossless zoom, and it's good. There is some evidence of upscaling, but the photos are detailed enough, and the other properties match the regular shots. Portrait mode shots can be taken with 1 times or 3 times zoom. The 1 times portraits from the main cam are praiseworthy. The subject has a ton of detail, and the separation from the background is quite proficient. 3 times zoomed portraits come from the telephoto cam. They're also excellent, with great subject rendition and lovely looking backgrounds. The regular zoom shots from the telephoto are again excellent. The zoom level on the viewfinder is 3 times, which is a slight crop and upscale from the lens's native 2.8 times zoom. There's no detriment to the quality though. There's plenty of detail, great sharpness, likable colors, and good dynamic range. There's also a toggle for 6 times zoom. These are decent. The detail level is mediocre, and the sharpness is far from ideal, but the rest of the properties are just as good as the native zoom. The ultra-wide camera's photos are incredibly detailed, and fine details are quite natural looking. These photos are also clean of noise, with minimal distortion around the corners. The colors look great, matching those from the main cam. There's high contrast, and the dynamic range is wide, but not too extreme. Thanks to the autofocus, the ultra-wide cam can take macro close-ups as well. These are outstanding, with tons of detail and sharpness, and superb colors. In low light conditions, the Find X6 Pro will automatically use night mode processing. There's also a dedicated night mode which produces the same quality. These photos from the main cam are again some of the best you can get. The detail level is top-notch, and the exposure is excellent. You also have no noise, great colors, and more than enough dynamic range. The nighttime 3 times zoomed photos are impressive too. All the shots we took turned out bright, detailed, and sharp, with low noise, if any. The colors look great, and there's a wide dynamic range. The same can be said about the ultra-wide cam's quality at night. These photos are impressive, with a bright exposure, and great detail and sharpness for this sort of camera. The color rendition is great, and there's wide dynamic range. Selfies come from the 32 megapixel front-facing cam, and they're solid. Without HDR, you get plenty of detail, nicely balanced rendition, and accurate colors. The dynamic range is a bit narrow though. When HDR kicks in, you lose some detail, but the dynamic range gets a nice boost. It's worth noting that Selfie video's resolution maxes out at 1080p here. You can see an example at the end of this review. You can record videos from the rear cameras in up to 4K resolution at 60 FPS. The quality from the main cam is excellent, with flagship grade detail and sharpness, natural rendition, great colors, and wide dynamic range. 4K video from the telephoto is also great, with a lot of detail, no traces of noise, lively colors, and okay dynamic range. The 4K videos from the ultra-wide camera have impressive sharpness and dynamic range. The colors could be a bit better, but these are still some of the best ultra-wide videos around. Electronic stabilization is supported across all cameras, and for the rear cameras, it's always on. It does a great job at smoothing out shakiness. In low light, 4K video from the main cam is impressive, with excellent detail, colors, and dynamic range. The noise is low too. 3 times zoomed low light video is decent. The detail is adequate, noise is low, and colors are true to life. There is some softness, and the dynamic range isn't too wide here. Nighttime video from the ultra-wide cam is surprisingly good. There's enough detail, great colors and exposure, and adequate dynamic range. While we can see some noise, it doesn't get in the way. So that's the Oppo Find X6 Pro. It's one of the best flagship phones we've seen, with impressive features all around. And of course, the most impressive are the cameras, which are amazing. There is only one issue here, and that's availability. For now, Oppo doesn't plan to release the phone outside of China. Still, it is possible to import the phone, and it could actually be worth it here if you don't mind the hassle and the Chinese software. The Find X6 Pro is just that good. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for alternatives to the Oppo Find X6 Pro, one option could be the Xiaomi 13 Pro, or you could have a look at the Vivo X90 Pro. Let us know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next one.